But I feel like they're tailoring FM25 specifically to me because they're just taking out all the game modes I haven't touched.
You can only play the 43 on Mega Press.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's all you need, isn't it?
I have never cared about a player's weight. The only time I've ever cared is when someone in chat has gone, can we have a look at the database and just see what the lightest player is or the heaviest player for the memes out of 100k, just to see if there is any outliers.
Could you just get rid of attributes? Like, just release the version, just get rid of attributes, because managers don't have attributes in real life, right? And just all you have to do now is use your scouts.
That's one of those things I think I agree with Kev. Like, you're either a leader or you're not. Like, you can't have 16 leadership. He's a better leader, just a little bit. I think that's silly. Just remove that. That's probably
wobbling. I think he's wobbling.
He's getting there.
Wobbling.
I'm not the finance director, am I? I'm the first team manager. I mean, in real life, is the head coach of a football club looking at balance sheets? No, of course they're not. They're given budgets and they work to the budgets. All I need to know is what my budget is, and then I need to be held accountable for meeting that budget. Unless I've got a director of football, in which case it's his problem, and I really don't even need to know.
What about those people that have just the hour or two in the evening and they just want to find and look at just sign Endrick and Arda Gula and those sort of players? What about those guys? Now they've got to.
They can still type those names in.
now they've got to sit there.
I don't think anyone's looking for Endrick based on knowing his attributes.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the FM Show. I'm your host Tony Jameson, joined as always by Aaron Falloon aka RDF Tactics. And Aaron, we've not just got ourselves one guest today, we have two fantastic guests. Everybody say hello to returning guest SecondYellowCard, who was here last week, who's not a new co-host, and also returning guest Lollujo. Hello everyone, how are we?
Hello.
You good?
Very good. I don't know how to answer when you introduce a group and then say, how are we? How am I supposed to know the rules of engagement there? Am I waiting for someone else to talk first? Come on, Tony. I don't think this is your first podcast. Come on now.
It's not my first podcast. It's not my first podcast. And this is not your first panel. I mean, come on. We mentioned with the boys in the last episode, the FIFA eWorld Cup. They were talking about this from a player's perspective. But Kev, you were the caster. I was trying to throw my eyesight to you. I know it's difficult on a webcam, but I was trying to throw it across to you and go, Kev will pick up on this lead, surely, like the consummate pro that he is, but no.
What can I do? I'm sorry. I'll try harder next time.
I'm sorry, I'll take the blame. It's my fault.
Oh yeah, I'm 100% blaming you. Yeah, I'm taking no responsibility for it.
Matt, do you want to help me out here a little bit? You knew what's going on, right?
No.
You didn't say anything either. It wasn't just me.
It's fine. This is normally how it works, to be honest. But normally I've not got a webcam on. I'm just getting told off at home. So it's nice to be told off by other people. Speaking of people getting told off, the plan for today's episode was going to be a little bit of a retrospective over the last 15 years of FM as it is, coming towards the end of the current cycle. And we thought that would be nice. We can all reminisce about our favourite versions. And then at the time of recording, Sports Interactive released a development update, which, Kev, angered a lot of people.
It was universally well received.
And you've had a lot of fun baiting the general public. Now, I know we're about a week out, but I'm guessing a lot of the topics will still be discussed. So shall we recap some of the highlights, Aaron, as to what's been in the blog, and then we'll get the views of Kev, get the views of Matt, and we'll see where we are. Does that sound like a plan?
Yeah, for sure. Right. Let me just get a post up.
Okay, we'll go from the top. Basically, they're talking about the latest updates. Update was previously in June. Miles is saying, the World Cup was fantastic, which of course it was. That was brilliant. Congratulations once again to Indonesia for winning. Commiserations to Sven and Terry in Germany. No mention of you boys, unfortunately, which I think is a bit, you know what I mean? Like, he was there, he said you were representing, but he's just went, they didn't get the final, they don't count.
Thank God I'm not in this post anyway.
So that's the tone, first of all. And then they say that there's going to be a change of goalposts. So we're not getting the game early November like we normally get it. It's going to go slightly later. and it's not going to have international management. That was the first big talking point, Aaron.
Yeah.
Matt.
Yeah.
Kev.
Who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, who cares? It's rubbish anyway.
I care.
No, you don't. It's
I do.
rubbish.
I can.
Right, I will send
do
you
have
one
to-
of the 5.6% t-shirts I'm having made. 'Cause-
Get in.
I need
Free
one
drop.
as
Hey,
well.
worth it now.
I need one as well. But obviously there is I do have my opinion. I didn't care about it, but there's a reason why I didn't care about it. And I think over the years they've had the opportunity to really improve that game mode. So it's a bit it's disappointing that it's gone, but it's just that feeling again. It's another update and it's another thing that's been removed, and we're not hearing anything about us being.
The thing is, you've got to. This is how I've been trolling everybody. Because I'm not actually trolling. I'm just trying to teach people to read. Because it's not that they've just gone like, nobody's playing this, we're just going to take it out, nobody really cares. The reason they've announced it as late as they have is because they've been trying to improve it, and they've got to the point where we're in September, the game was due out in like 6 weeks' time, and they're like, yeah, this isn't going to be ready. So they either had the choice of trying to replicate the current rubbish version that nobody plays, and bearing in mind they'd have to build that because it's an entirely new game, so they can't just leave it as it is. So many people are saying just leave it as it is if you can't improve it. They can't. They have to build that too. So the reason it's not in is because they're trying to improve it. They're trying to make it better. It's not in this year, but it will be back. And when it's back, it might actually finally be good. And I haven't touched international management for even a minute on FM24 because it's so rubbish. So I don't mind going another year without playing internationals, knowing that when it does come back in a World Cup year, it might actually be playable. And that'd be a delight after all these years of it being rubbish.
Matt, that almost sounds like logic and reason. Is that welcome on this podcast?
I mean, yeah, obviously. I still don't like. I actually do play international management. Like I did a beta save with the USA this year. I've managed Malta on my Twitch save this year as well, and I agree, it is shit. And something had to be done about it, right?
Tell us how you really feel, though, Matt.
It's one of those things where I'm torn because it's like I want it in the game because it's a good thing and I like the ability to do so, but I also want it to be good at the same time. So I can understand that. It's just one of those things where I think with the introduction of women's football, it's such a huge thing in women's football is international football. And I think not having that at the same time is one of those things that it feels like a missed opportunity, but obviously, like, again, development time is extremely important, but it's just one of those things where I'm just like, oh, it would be so good if they had that, particularly when bringing in women's football, because that's how I, generally speaking, consume women's football at the moment, is through the international tournaments, because my team is not in a league that is even close to being able to be watched anywhere that isn't actually physically in person, right? And, it's just like, it's annoying, but I understand it, if that makes sense.
Imagine if they listened to that feedback, Matt, and were like, actually, you know what, we're going to pull women's football for a year as well. We'll just add that to the really
there you go.
long list.
I think there was already that, wasn't there? At least it felt like that when the Lionesses won the trophy.
Oh, yes,
like,
yes,
that's
yes.
the year. This is the year. Get it. Capitalize
Yeah.
on it. And then they were like, no, another year. And it was like, hang on, what? Like that was a bit of the reaction at the time. I get where Matt's coming from. Sorry, Aaron, you jump in.
Oh no, that's it. My thing was just, I understand it. It's just that it's just been like years of just constant complaining about how bad that game mode is, and it's just never got improved. And obviously, it sounds weird now that we're complaining because we actually want it improved. They're improving it, and now we're complaining that they're improving it. But it just feels, I don't know, they've just had that opportunity. It's just a bit disappointing. But no, I totally understand it. I don't play it, so for me, it's just like whatever, innit? Whatever, improve it. But yeah, I do feel that they've had that opportunity over the years to really improve that game mode.
I think the one thing that it feels like it takes away, and Kev, I think
Yeah,
it's
just
only
a feel.
It's only a minimal thing, right? But it takes away the potential to win a World Cup, right? Now, I know that not many people do that, right? But the World Cup's quite a big thing to remove from football, isn't it? And I get the fact that you want it to be good, because no one really, if no one's playing it, then it's clearly not good enough. But it is a huge thing to take away when you consider it like that.
Well, we've got the Club World Cup though. That's
It's the big one.
give it
Got World Cup in the
10
title.
years. I mean, you joke. Give it 10 years. That will be the big one. That's what they're going to spend the next 10 years pushing.
I slightly agree. You know, I'm not gonna lie. I'm slightly looking forward to play the Club World Cup over the World Cup in Football Manager. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm on that side, yeah.
Oh, he's sold out, hasn't he? Look at this.
I'm not gonna lie, it's the truth.
That's
Isn't it?
England's manager talking there.
Just.
Not anymore, he can't.
Oh yeah. No, what I'm saying is that it's big disappointing I can't manage England, but we'll get there.
I was going to say, yeah. Considering you two have just donned Three Lions tracksuits for a week, to then be told, oh, by the way, we're not going to be able to capitalize on it at this time. I get the feeling, but I
did think about that. Yeah, I actually did think about it, but again, it's one of those things in it. I'm not actually. It's my first time experiencing esports, so I don't know exactly how it works. If it works like how it did at the World Cup, then I guess things will be fine. But if there was an opportunity to actually represent England in the Nations World Cup or something like that, then a little disappointing. But I guess the time will come anyway.
Especially as it's like just sort of stepping back a bit. I was just thinking about how it is a weird concept that it is a football management game where you cannot manage England. Mm-hmm. That does sound weird to say out loud, honestly.
For all the years that we've not had Germany in the game and Japan, we've
Speak
now
for
got
yourself.
the situation. So in vanilla from the outer box, you don't have Germany and Japan in there. Kev, you're now in that position, as Matt said there, where your players are going to go on international duty. You think possibly, you don't know. Who knows where they are? Does it really make a difference to you?
Not to me, because I haven't. It literally makes zero difference to how I play the game.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about. I feel like they're tailoring FM25 specifically to me because they're just taking out all the game modes I haven't touched.
You can only play the 43 on Mega Press.
Yeah, it's all you need, isn't it? Get rid of all these superfluous tactics. Get rid of defensive mentality. What's the point of that being there? But I don't really do player shouts. They're gone.
Matt,
I don't manage internationals. That's gone. I haven't touched fantasy draft or versus mode since the streamer showdowns. That's gone. What else is gone? I probably don't use that either. Miles is just tailoring this. Yeah, I don't even know what that is. I've never even seen that. So I'm enjoying myself. Take the MLS out as well, just so I don't accidentally end up there. Get it all gone.
Oh,
You
come
see
on,
a giant
we
button
all,
when you load in that just says "Do a football."
Yeah, that's all you need.
It's a new game mode. It's like it's real world, it's original, or it's Kev mode. And it's just
I just need two buttons: quick pick, do a football. That's it. Give me those, and I would do 2,000 hours on that game. I would love it.
I'd be all over that. I mean, I love that. I love that. I've got no idea where the chalkboard is. Nobody did. I spent two streams trying to find where the chalkboard
No
was.
one could tell me exactly where it was.
I have a theory that they just made it up so they could have three things to announce that they'd removed, not realising, because, rule of threes in marketing and all that, not realising they were going to take international management out as well later on, or else they wouldn't have made up a feature to remove. Good work, Football Manager.
Yeah, I like that. But Aaron, all's not lost though. If you play an FM mobile, you can still have international management. So there you go.
That's a loss. After I found FM Touch, that's a loss.
We almost got him back. Matt, try and sell international management to me, by the way, because I'm doing it a little bit at the minute online, and all I seem to play is four international matches at once, and they all seem to be against France, and I don't know why.
No. Again, it is crap, but it could be good. It's like it has the potential to be good. I think the issues with it are quite simple because there's such large gaps between anything useful happening. You can't do proper training. The coaches and stuff don't need to do anything, and the players get way more tired than they would do in a real national team tournament. There's a lot of dynamics, I think, that are a bit broken. That and the squad picker is absolute garbage. Despite some apparent improvements to it this year, it is so difficult to pick a squad because the way that the screen works is it just doesn't work properly. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things you have to play because you love international management and not because the game mode is inherently fun.
So to summarise, everything about it is rubbish. But people are upset that it's being removed. Brilliant.
But I want the option for masochism.
I want the option to be miserable and not enjoy myself.
There you go. Yes, I want my fun to be difficult.
This is the game I bought. And I want to have the right to complain. Thank you very much.
Exactly. Yes.
It's like getting angry at your Sky TV package. Going, I can't believe you've given me all these channels. I don't even watch half of them.
I mean, I do get a little bit annoyed now they've got the Sky Sports Plus thing. Trying to find a Peterborough game on there. Just get rid of all this trash I don't want to watch. By now, we're 5 matches in. I should be being Spotified and YouTubed here. When I go on there, it should just show me the posh match straight away. That's obviously the one I'm looking for. Why do I have to scroll for it? I am angry with Sky. More angry with them than I am Sports Interactive at the moment, to be honest.
Sky just put out a press release. They're going to remove the Peterborough games, but they're going to put them back in next year once they've improved them.
Well, that's fine. I can live with that. I'll move back to my McDonald's in Massachusetts that I've been watching the matches out of for the last 5 years.
You as well?
I reckon there's a McDonald's in Bourne, Massachusetts that probably gets mail addressed to me because that's where my Peacock account is. That's where my iFollow account is. So yeah, I reckon they probably get junk mail with my name on and are very confused.
It's interesting because the Peterborough matches are all on Sky Go. They've kept them there, but not on the main box. So interesting. Well, Aaron, while Kev's getting angry about that, should we look at the next thing that's been removed? Tell me, Aaron. In all your years playing Football Manager, when was the last time you considered a player's weight as an actual metric for signing a player?
Oh
and be
no,
honest.
never. I've never used it as a metric. I've just seen it. So like when I go to my squad comparison and you see like the height and the weight, and I'm like, oh, my team's lighter than the rest, or they're heavier than the rest, and that's it. That's all I've seen.
Do you even know what that means? Does it mean anything?
Literally no.
Exactly.
Literally no. I just see it and I was like, oh, fair play.
I think they should change the weight to a scale similar to how they have with the preferred foot, where it goes right only, right either, and all the way through. So I think we should go from really fat to normal to not very fat to quite thin, and just take the weights out and just give it a 5-point scale from fat to thin, and I think everyone's going to be happy. Yeah, exactly. I don't need it accurate to the kilogram. Just tell me if they're fat or not.
But you have fat to thin, but that is literally for the manager profile. Like, because I've tried to put my weight in, and you know what? The scales on Football Manager are wrong. Right? Okay, like I know the size I am, and I keep telling myself the mirror's
wrong.
Yeah, but this is the thing. It doesn't really make any difference because even watching the 3D match engine, the players don't look any bigger or smaller. The height thing works absolutely, but Matt, I'll be honest. I've never looked at a player and just went, "Oh, 12 stone 5." Don't think so. Like
no. I mean, literally, I was talking about this on stream earlier. I have never cared about a player's weight. The only time I've ever cared is when someone in chat has gone, can we have a look at the database and just see what the lightest player is or the heaviest player for the memes out of 100k, just to see if there is any outliers. That's the only time I've ever cared about it. It doesn't seem to affect the player's actual attributes. It's one of those things where it almost comes to match the attributes rather than the other way around, so it just works like that. It's one of those things. Yeah. The fact is, they said in the thing something about how it's still going to be there underneath. We're just removing its visibility. But that just means someone's going to put a skin together that's just going to add it back in again anyway. So if you're that bothered about it, just get the skin.
It'll be on my scale. It won't be the actual numbers. That'll be the great thing about it.
What I'd like on my skin then, I'd like, instead of having fat to thin, I want in relation to animals. So I want this player is equivalent to 3 baboons. Like, nice. Like little. Yeah, well, that's just it was the Skinner's choice, isn't it? They can make whatever they want. Half a Volvo. That would be quite good.
The most important thing we've got to remember is, as well, this does allow us to eliminate one of the most evil, perverted communities within Football Manager. Because I went on one of Zealand's Rating a Wonder Kid videos earlier in the year, and the amount of people who sent Wonder Kids to him, who they had height in feet and inches and weight in kilograms. And that is hideous. You go imperial or metric. I don't think people who go half and half should be allowed. And now those people are done.
I was noticing it today as I was looking at the weights of players that I had it set in kilograms and I had the rest in height and inches.
And is that because you've never looked at the weight before, so you didn't even notice?
I think it's because my chat bullied me because they didn't understand what stones was.
Well, a bunch of wallies.
There you go. Thank you. I've been telling them that for ages.
I'll tell him. Matt's chat, you're a bunch of wallies.
There you go. I'll put that in the clip.
Yeah, learn your weights, and now you don't have to actually. So that's fine. But as you say, like the fact that it's been removed because it doesn't make any difference, but it's kept behind the scenes because it may or may not make a difference, seems a bit odd. And then everyone's picked up on, or at least has tried to pick up on, drawing the conclusion that, well, it's because of women's football that we haven't got weights, and that's just ridiculous.
I mean, it kind of indirectly is, isn't it? They have said they have said that it's because it would complicate it. They basically had a choice because women's weight fluctuates more than men's weight.
Yeah.
They had the choice of code that in, and then they were like, "Why are we coding this in? It doesn't make a difference. It's pointless. Let's just take it out." So it's not that they're trying to protect women's delicate feelings. It's because they realised it doesn't make a difference, so let's not do the work. Let's just take out this pointless thing that does nothing.
But Kev, looking at Twitter, no one's considered the white man's feelings in this, and they've been
Well,
really angry about that.
I like to feel like I've spoken on their behalf throughout this process.
Yeah, I mean, I've never, ever seen anybody buy a player based on weight. Someone tried to convince me last night on chat that it was like, "Oh yeah, I like big, stocky defenders." I was like, "No, you don't. No, you don't. You're lying. Right? Stop it now." And even if you do, look at strength. That's probably the attribute that you'll look at.
Quite apart from anything else, as a 6'2", 21 stone man, I look at all of these and think, well, they're pathetically small. I'm looking at my supposedly big, strong centre back now, who's 6'2", 13.5 stone. If I was 13.5 stone, people would ask me if I'd been ill. So none of these guys are big and strong. I don't understand.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It ruins the big meaty men better, doesn't it? It's just all spindly, malnourished men. That's what they're going to be going for.
Get them some dinner. Get them some chips. Lovely chips.
That'll be an FM26 actually. Nutrition. I'm sure of it.
I'd love that. Then bring weight back. Then there's a reason for weight to be in there.
Yes. The strikers had too many chips.
Pre-season bulking. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Oh, right, we're getting carbs in them. Go on.
Exactly.
You can have like a nutrition plan. It's like a training schedule, but it's just food.
I like it. I'd use that as much as I use training at the moment.
Kev, it turns out there's a new post. Training's been removed as well.
Yes.
I wonder, like, if you had your way, Kev, what would be left in?
The only screens I really use are the inbox, which they're taking out. I use the squad screen. I use the tactics screen. I use dynamics. I do actually look at that, and scouting. That's about it. Just leave them in. Everything else can go. I don't really need any of the rest of it.
Matt, do you need all of those, or can you get rid of any more of them? Anything else?
I was actually looking through the screens earlier. Do you know what really does need to go? Supporter culture. Like, what is the point of that screen?
I don't
that
even
is
know
literally
where
an
that
appendix.
is. Where does that live?
The fact is, you don't need to know. If they removed it from the game and the entire player base was not told, it would take at least 3 weeks before anybody noticed.
See, now this is getting a little bit off topic. So we had the episode about making the game more a bit gamey, like you can earn reward points or whatever it is, just like XP points, whatever. So in the tournament, the World Cup tournament, right, your manager's board and that sort of stuff mattered. Like you're literally competing and you're going for something. In Football Manager, you're not actually, like, these A's and B's and C's that you're getting from, they don't mean nothing. Like, it's just there sort of thing. That they've got to try and make it more engaging where it actually means something. Like, you can get some, I don't know, like, I don't think, obviously, introducing XP points might be a good idea, but just make sure these things are engaging and it feels like you actually need to, or you're determined to get to an A or whatever it is. Because the only time I've ever cared about the manager's rating was at the World Cup tournament, where it became literally so vital.
You could sort of level up your manager, and then you could even spend his wages. I've heard they love it when people suggest that as well.
Let me manage the youth team as well. Goodness me.
But yeah, with the kitchen stuff.
With the removal
can I dictate the price of the kit going forward, please? I'd really like that. That would be a really important job for me.
So yeah, I don't get the removing of. So the height, the weight thing. Sorry, I don't understand why they mentioned it. I don't think it needed to be in the blog post. Just don't do it.
I was just like, who cares?
So
they've kind of gone one extreme to the other, haven't they? They've gone from never telling us anything to oversharing.
So in this year, if you go to the manager's profiles, there's things that are missing which they just did not explain why they've removed it. Or so, like, I know in FM23 you could see the manager's preferred formation, his mentality, that sort of stuff. And then this year they removed it without telling anyone, no explanation. They still haven't explained why they've done it. They just removed it. You just get on
I
with
didn't
it.
even know that was gone.
They removed it.
That's what I'm saying, and I think weight's another one where they could have just removed it, and people would have just not even noticed.
Compare this to last year, right? So this year they're telling us they're removing weight. Last year they said, "Hey, your manager can have an eye patch." So again, it's like I don't know. Maybe I'm missing a big community that demanded eye patches.
Yeah,
It's
I don't
the
think they
fans
need
of
to
Orlando
mention
Pirates.
I just want to be able to put on 2 eye patches, which it doesn't let you do.
Why are
which is
you not allowed to do
unfortunate.
that? It just
Yeah, I want double eye
Sleep mask.
patches. Yeah.
Wait until there's a mod to have hoverboard and
Yes.
Meta headset as well.
well, yeah.
And another thing as well, why I don't understand why people are moany about the weight thing, because is it ever accurate? Like, you want data to be accurate, right? And if it's
Sort of just yeah.
obviously some players will be accurate and majority are not. So what it does it? If
I mean,
it
I
matter?
wouldn't know because I've just never looked at it. It
Yeah, so
could
if
be-
exactly, so if it's,
So, for
if
all
it's
I know,
incorrect-
they're lining everyone up just before the launch of every game and weighing them.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
I
So
just
if
don't.
the
I don't
information could be
care.
incorrect anyway, then why are you even moaning about it? They probably should have went with that. If they were going to mention it, they probably should have led with that. That obviously it's difficult for all the information to be accurate, so they felt they should remove it.
Speaking as somebody who used to be a football manager researcher many moons ago, I guarantee that's something that I don't actually ever remember being asked about it. But if I ever was, I definitely would have made that up because I
Yeah,
wouldn't
yeah,
have
it
known
is.
that information.
They-
How would
so,
you
like,
get it?
Exactly. Turn up at
You
the
have to
training
go to the
ground with
clubs
with a
directly.
set of kitchen scales.
And then you have to get permission. Some clubs will give it, some clubs won't. Some clubs post it online on their club's website.
I
and some
absolutely
don't.
wouldn't have ever asked for it.
Yeah, absolutely not. Not all
I'm
these
looking through my
players.
squad now on my current save. I've got a guy here who's
He now
6 foot
cares about
6,
weight.
6'6" and 13 stone. That doesn't sound like a healthy man.
No.
That's Peter Crouch, isn't it? That's
I think even he's probably about 15, if not more.
possibly, yeah. I don't know. I was looking forward to Weight Manager coming in for next season, but sadly not. So the blog post seems to suggest then, if you were planning on managing women's internationals and focusing only on weight, it might not be the game for you next year.
But don't worry, FM26, you'll be there.
Get them all back in.
Yes.
What they should do is with FM26 is put weight in and just say it like it's there, but then a little thing going, honestly, it makes no difference. Like
It's just random.
see-
It just changes.
Yeah, I
every time
can't
you look
wait
at the
until it
profile.
comes back as a new feature and everyone kicks off. Can't believe this is a new feature. And then we can cross-reference if it's the same pillocks who moaned both ends. It definitely will have been.
Yes, it was.
It'll flash up. Erling Haaland isn't 46 stone. That's wrong for a start. Well, took a guess.
He's made of Mjolnir's hammer.
Who knows what'll happen by 2046? Anything
Well,
could
there you
happen. Anything could happen. Cool. Okay, so that's where we are as of last week. I mean, a week's a long time in gaming. Anything could have happened between then and now, but we think that's where it is.
He could have announced the removal of height.
God.
See, now that would upset me.
See, yeah, that would be a bit.
I'd be-
that would be like fair enough. Like,
I'd be standing outside their offices with an angry sign if they took height out.
bring back the meaty men. Bring back
Yeah.
the meaty men.
Exactly.
We've removed left feet. Okay, just because it turned out that only 8.7% of the player base were using left-footed players. So we've got
Damn,
rid of
sweet
them.
left foot in tatters.
That's why he doesn't stream anymore. He
True.
was assigned to us all. Right, so that's where we are then, and obviously, let's say it's slightly delayed, which is fine overall.
Oh, for sure.
And yeah, as I say,
Slightly delayed is on theme anyway, isn't it?
Yeah. I'd rather be delayed than like out early and buggy, right?
Speak for yourself. It's costing me a lot of money.
well,
Sorry for your RPM, Skev.
I know.
This is a point that obviously has been discussed in the creators world, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, you set yourself these time scales for when things happen and where your saves go and that. And I don't fully understand the change with YouTube, Kev. Obviously, that's your bag and Aaron's as well, and yourself, Matt. To be honest, I'm the outlier here. I don't know, but it does change a lot, and it does change plans as well because, like, we tend, bar Aaron, we tend to do long-term saves. Us three. Aaron's got 87 saves to get through next season. He's only going to be able to get through 86. What's going to happen?
We did 3 days in Dynamo. That's that. I'm definitely mentioning that all the time.
3 days in Dynamo
three
sounds like a Danny Boyle film.
Sounds like something off the dark web. He's going to get his plaque on the back 3 days at Dynamo. The longest save I've ever done. He's going to take your Guinness World Record, Kev.
We'll see about that, sunshine.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Right, let's move away then from what's potentially coming up. We'll do a bit of throwback to what we were going to chat about. Obviously, it is the end of the cycle with FM24. It is going to go. We are doing this brand new FM25. Like, what would be the game that you look back on most fondly, Kev? And which one would you look at with the most? Anger's probably the wrong word, but which one did you really not get on board with?
I mean, I've always said that in my 30 years of playing these games, the new one is always the best one I've ever played. It just gets better every year. The best one is FM24. The worst one, I guess, Championship Manager 2, because that was the first one I played all those years ago. But yeah, it genuinely has always got better every year. So it's easy answer. End of podcast.
Perfect. Excellent. Tune in next week, folks, for...
But I genuinely don't understand these people who are like, oh, I loved FM18. No, what you mean is you had a fun save on FM18. The game itself, factually, not as good as FM19, which in turn wasn't as good as 20, and so on. They improve it every year. And I have fun saves every year because... this is what I do. I always enjoy my saves. If I'm not enjoying, I am a fun guy. If I'm not enjoying a save, I'll bin it off and then do a fun one. So yeah, I love it. FM24 has been great. What I really enjoy about it is the fact I know how much all the players weigh.
Imagine though, Kev. Imagine if you were that into stats, you'd have all that data now for next year and just be like, "Well, I know how much everyone weighs, so it's fine." I'm going to
write it all down. I'm going to make copious notes while I've still got this version of the game, just so I know.
Yeah. Matt, same. Are you the same? Is it like the newest version is the best version, or have you got anything that's sort of like, oh?
No, I mean, pretty much like last year when I made a video talking about the newest version coming out, I made the point that like it was the most recent one was the best version to date, and I got pelters for that. Like, how could you possibly say this? In FM22, I could score from the side netting or whatever. I'm just like, yeah. But as Kev said, it's built upon it. And now what I will say is FM21 did have those issues where basically a player couldn't score a one-on-one opportunity ever, which was frustrating, but it's still built upon itself, right? There were other things that made it better, and I think FM24, honestly, genuinely, there's a lot of things I liked about it. I really, really liked watching the match engine this year because it was less predictable. I feel like before you could sometimes get patterns where you'd be like, oh, here comes a goal, and you could still sometimes do that in FM24, but it doesn't feel anywhere near as bad as it used to be. And yeah, like I said, I think it just gets better every year. Hopefully that will continue.
Aaron, which version have you found most frustrating?
Champ 5 probably. I think Champ 5, yeah, that game was that wasn't a game.
That was like an insect field full of bugs, wasn't it? That was like...
yeah, that wasn't a game. But other than that, you've asked that question before, and I've literally had the exact same answer as Kev, where each year it just gets better. I mean, some years you might have an expectation and it might fall below your expectation, but if you then try to play the game previously or the previous year, I guarantee you're going to find it very difficult because you're going to realize quickly that game isn't as good. And we tried it all the time. Like, people are like, oh my God, the match engine looked better and blah, 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 blah. And then when you actually go back and play it, the match engine definitely isn't better back then than it was here. The only thing that's gone backwards is probably the region faces. Like, that's the only thing. That's the only thing that seems to get worse each year. But other than that,
I think they're pretty.
They're pretty something. They're pretty something.
They are.
He loves his monobrows.
I do. I mean, I have one, so I respect them in the new gens.
Some of them need a representation thing.
Yeah, I feel seen.
I mean, the point you made though, Kev, is valid, I reckon, about people looking at the game and going, that's the best version, but it's actually, that was my favourite save. So out of what you've done over the past 10 years, what's been the one that's jumped out at you? Like, what's the one that you go, oh, you know what? Like, just that's the one I could go back to. If I could go back again, I'd play that all over again.
Any of the non-League to Legends. I mean, the reason I do it every year is because it's my absolute favourite way of playing the game. It's the only way I'd ever play the game if I could get away with it on the internet. I just love basing all of my decisions completely on what I would do in real life, and it sends the YouTube comments absolutely bonkers when they get really invested in a club and I just walk out because someone's offered me a pay rise. And I love it. That's my absolute favourite thing about it, because it just keeps the save completely unpredictable. I don't necessarily want to spend 20 years managing the same club, because without wanting to blow my own trumpet, I'm not that kind of guy. But if I'm playing the same team for 20 years, I'm going to win for 20 years in a row, and it's boring. I like having to go and rebuild at another club. But yeah, any non-league to legend, they've all been great.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. That makes sense. I guess, if you're going to keep coming back to the same model, then you've got to be invested in it. Isn't that right, Matt?
Oh yeah, I mean, as someone who's currently in his 24th season with the same team and winning a lot,
so boring. So boring.
My 103 game unbeaten run in all comps came to an end today. I was devastated.
I'd need a good book to read while that was going on. Goodness me.
I feel personally attacked.
I'll try and.
Oh no! That was how it was intended. It was a personal attack.
I feel attacked. Oh, that I was successful. Good. No, I'm gonna give you an update, Matt, because obviously I've taken a bit of inspiration and tried to do the Build a Nation myself, and I panicked. I got a bit confusion in it because I got sacked, and I know I wasn't happy
from many people.
Yeah, and the bastards at Larissa, right? Play young players. Can we have some more youth system? No. Right, great. Let's see what happens then. So I got sacked from that, and I thought about just jacking it all in, but then I remembered it wasn't a Build a Larissa, it was Build a Nation.
There you go.
I remembered that revenge is much more fun than winning. So that's my plan now. Get straight back in, take on another club, and I'll fucking ruin them if I have to.
That's always been my plan if I got sacked on a Build a Nation, was to just take over that club's biggest rival. It hasn't happened yet, but if it does, I'm coming for him.
Ooh. Gotta be done. I've already gone to Larissa and won in their stadium, and presumably I stood in the centre circle like that. Come on,
with a gun.
Yeah, have it. Aaron, which one's been your? You can't tell me what your favourite save's been at all. Can you? That's no idea.
Yeah, that's impossible. I just find, because obviously I do so many saves each year, so I'm a bit like Kev. Like, the moment I lose fun or interest, I can just bin it off. For me, my attention span, that seems to be very often. But I do get that I do get one of those saves like last year when I was at Everton, and obviously because I don't make a plan, I'm just playing it, having fun with the chat, and then as we go along, then we're making the rules. I think that's what got me excited. So I just don't know, man. Off memory, off content creating, it'll probably be last year where I was at Everton and we started going to different clubs in Europe. But yeah, I do get that sort of. I do try and do those saves where like, I was part of Rotterdam and you're trying to build to this great Dutch team, but then after I do win like the 4th title in a row, I get to this sticky period where I'm like just getting battered in Europe, but I'm battering teams in Dutch league, and that kind of made it tough for me. And I just move on to the next one.
I feel like I'm surrounded, as usual whenever I talk about FM, I'm surrounded by people who win a lot. Kev, you've already touched upon it, that you can go and win everything. Matt, obviously, sorry you had to lose a game. Really sorry about that, right?
Tough times.
And obviously, I've got Aaron on the podcast with me every single time. Like, Kev, because everyone says FM's too easy, right? What could SI actually do to make the game either harder or more realistic? Which again would make it harder, and everyone would be upset because nobody wins.
I mean, I guess what they hopefully are building towards is just better opposition AI. That's all it comes down to. You need to have opposition managers that actually react to what you're doing, which they don't. They kind of touch on trying to kind of simulate that and replicate that, but they don't have the AI. They don't have the code to actually make them genuinely react to what you're doing as a manager yet. And that's until they get to the point where they have that. There's only so much you can do, because in the current build of the game, the current match engine, the current way the game works, all you can really do is crank up the dial of ridiculous things going against you, like missing sitters, giving away penalties, getting red cards. And sometimes you feel it happening when you're playing the game. You'll be on a 10-match winning run with a team that shouldn't be winning 10 matches in a row, and it's like, okay, well, here I am, first half, I've had 2 players sent off, this is the 3rd penalty I've conceded, and we've missed a sitter. So the game's decided my winning run's over, and it's so clunky when it does it. And I think the only way is by improving the manager AI, which I admit will be incredibly time intensive and very expensive to do, and I don't expect it's something they'll be able to do for at least 5 years. I wouldn't have thought, but hopefully after they've got the new user interface in, the new match engine and everything in, once I've put all the features back in they're taking out, hopefully the next thing at the top of the to-do list is sort manager AI. We don't need difficulty levels, we need actual responsive manager AI. Almost, if it's clever enough, it can balance itself to the ability of the player and the success of the player, and kind of without making it really obvious that's what's happening. What you really want is, if you're supposed to finish mid-table, you should probably finish mid-table, and it should be a gradual, slow process. You shouldn't be taking a club who are media prediction 24th place and winning the league by 20 points. That shouldn't be something that you're able to do in the game, but at the moment, there's no way for them to stop you doing it. We need that better manager AI.
The other thing I think is like transfer AI. So the other it's too easy to get a squad of absolute demons with an even pretty basic like transfer budget and basic scouting. It's too easy to do that, and that makes it very easy to do the exact thing Kev was just saying. So I think they need to have exactly what Kev just said, as well as like more advanced AI on the transfers as well. So it's really hard to get those good players because every club wants them too. You're not going to find most of the time that, oh look, it's this player that I have heard of for some reason and no other club in the world has scouted. It just, that doesn't really happen in football that often anymore. So it would be very difficult to compete for a player's signature, and you wouldn't be able to sniff a player out from underneath the nose of Chelsea and Inter Milan when you're a championship club. Every now and then it might happen, but like, it happens too often in FM where you can just basically hoover up anyone you like. And I like doing that. But, you know, if it was truly realistic and extremely difficult, you wouldn't be able to do that.
Could they add to that? And I can already hear the comments being typed into the response to what I'm about to say. Could you just get rid of attributes? Like, and just release the version, just get rid of attributes, because managers don't have attributes in real life, right? And just all you have to do now is use your scouts. And your scouts know who the players are. And yeah, you're right.
I'm fully in favour of getting rid of attributes. Yeah. I still don't know what most of them do. I don't really look at them. I would be fine with the little graphical representation of the attributes we get. I forget what it's called. That thing, instead of the numbers, absolutely fine. So you get an idea of, oh, okay, this guy's fast. So this is a fast player. Or this guy's good in the air. That's all the information you really need. I don't need to know the specific combination of 8 different attributes that are all over a 16 that make this guy a perfect inverted wing back. That kind of thing is nonsense. Shouldn't bin that off.
I agree.
Happy to bin that off.
Yeah,
I'd love to see it.
I completely disagree.
I think it's something that we've debated. What makes a 14? What makes a 15 when it comes to, composure or first touch?
I don't think the numbers as much as that important, but more so what the attributes actually mean. For example, like composure, I think something like that, I don't know, many people just don't even care about it, but I do think that's important, and there should be that in the game. I don't know how you would do it, but I think attributes are very important, I'm not going to lie, especially attribute linking as well.
But the thing is, putting my researcher hat back on again.
In football, you can be a good finisher, but that doesn't mean much. Like, I still think being able to anticipate situations and having good composure should tell you that actually this guy's a good finisher, but he can do it in high-pressured moments rather than he's just a good finisher and then that's just it in the game. Like, he's just a good finisher no matter if he's under pressure or not. I think being under pressure, all that sort of thing, it should matter.
But as Tony just said, what makes a 14, what makes a 15? Literally having to fit them into the squad that they're in at the start of the game as a researcher, because you get a certain average current ability that the squad has to be. It's not even like it has to be below this or above this. You literally have to nail the average dead on. Each of the attributes go towards the current ability of the players. The average that you have to get to is based on the league position they finished in the previous season. So if you I mean, I had it as the Peterborough researcher years ago because we would bob up and down between League One and the Championship. The attributes would have to vary wildly from season to season on the same players because you've moved divisions. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden you're going, well, he was a 16 for that before, but now he's only a 12. So that's the only way to fit it into this average properly. He hasn't got worse at doing that thing. It's just literally got to make the numbers work. And I would be quite happy going with just a little the graphical representation thing, and then the stuff that's on the scout reports and the coach reports, because they give you those key pieces of information.
Then what do you do for attribute change, like for changes then? So when you're doing and you're assigning, so let's say, I want him to be better at finish a composure and whatever in training. How can you then actually see that he's getting better?
He scores more goals.
He has no representation.
Same way you do in real life.
In training, that sort of stuff. I don't know. I think attributes is very important.
I think it's a way of. Go on, Matt. Sorry.
I think what you need perhaps is a bit best of both worlds, where you don't get rid of attributes, but you give players the option to hide them from the game, so they still affect everything under the hood, as is. But you have the option the same way you can turn on attribute masking. You could turn on an option which masks them out entirely, so you are solely reliant on data and the scout reports themselves. That might be a way around that sort of pleases both sides of things. Because I'd love to play the game without the attributes on and just use data to decide if my player is good enough, and then use the scout reports that provide sort of more anecdotal evidence if the player's good. Like, they could say he's fast, but that's all you're going to get, really. That would be quite interesting.
Or you could even have comparisons like, he's a bit faster than this guy. He's now the fastest guy you've got at your club. You don't need to know that. Like, as a Peterborough fan, I know Ricky J. Jones is the fastest player in League One. So I don't know what his attribute rating for that is. I bet it's not a 20, though, because he's a League One player. You can't give a League One player a 20. But I bet he's faster than most Premier League players.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that, and you know what? That's it, isn't it? Like, and I think for me, I only feel like I've got attributes on the game for stream, like for chat to see, because they like seeing the numbers. Like, personally, I wouldn't really care. Like, if I was playing at home, I probably would have the attributes off, and I'd like that real world feeling of, as you say, he's a fast player, he's a combative player, he's a creative player, because you wouldn't have that list of in the manager's office in the real world. You wouldn't be able to go and search and go, you know what, right, I'll just get on my player search and find a player, right, I want someone who's got jumping of at least 14, and it's like, no, I want to use the staff in the game and get some benefit from them, because otherwise they just feel a little bit sort of fluffy, really, a bit just superfluous. They're not really giving me much.
I think in real life you do and you don't get numbers. You certainly do get some sort of numbers, and they do. Your coaches are definitely grade them to a point, especially in scout reports. There are grading in scout reports. Like, not obviously everyone would use a grading system, but there is certainly numbers in ranking a player's finishing and a player's heading ability and that sort of thing. There certainly is numbers, but I think also you'll lose a lot of connection with your players without seeing those numbers. I'm pretty sure of that. I think those numbers help you connect with a player in the game. Like, your favourite players in the game, I guarantee if you go back and like, I love this player because, and you start talking about his attributes, he had this finishing 20 and he had this and he had that. Now imagine those attributes wasn't there. You wouldn't be falling in love with McCall and all of these players. I'm pretty sure of that.
I love Joe Bellingham because he was just 11s and 12s all over the place. He just did it constantly. He wasn't a superstar, but he just played in every position I put him. And I think that was the moment I started to think the attributes made no sense, because like, he was 11s and 12s in literally everything, which meant by default he could play in all positions. And I don't really think that's probably real in real life, that you wouldn't put Joe Bellingham at left wing back, but according to the game he could do a job just as well as most of the players in Greece.
Yeah, I don't know. I would never take away the option to have attributes. Like, you know me, I can play the game without attributes. I have as well, but I don't know. There's just something about attributes. Plus, what about those people that have just the hour or two in the evening and they just want to find and look at, just sign Endrick and Arda Güler and those sort of players? What about those guys? Now they've got to.
They can still type those names in.
now they've got to sit there.
I don't think anyone's looking for Endrick based on knowing his attributes.
I think they do though. That's literally the thing. Like, when Foot Manager comes out, all of us, not all of us, but many of us will go, and the first thing is, how good is this player? How good? Like, it's just part of the thing. It will be like removing attributes from FIFA. It will just be ridiculous. I honestly think it will just be ridiculous. I think if FIFA just had speedster, trickster, and all of that sort of thing, it was just like, well, he's a trickster and he's a trickster. Who's the better one?
Well, you play with them both and work it out the way you would in real life.
I don't know. I don't think you would, because you would have your sort of.
If the match
back
engine's good
on
enough, you don't need the attributes, because you can judge the players the way you judge them in real life by watching them play football.
I don't know, man.
Then you're putting the pressure on the match engine being really good.
I mean, it's a lot of work, isn't it, for those people who play 3 seasons as PSG to be like, you know.
Well, the quick pick button's there for them.
True.
So and then how do you do draft and all of that sort of stuff?
I mean, it's not in the game, is it? So who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
How do you do that? Yeah.
I'll do draft the same way I've always done it. I'll open the editor, get a list of who's got the best current ability, and then draft those players.
What I think they should do, though, so like the Mastermind skin, I think they should group it better. Like, make it make sense. Like, rather than having finishing as a standalone attribute, you're judging his finishing based off his shooting and his composure and his whatever it is. And the same as his passing, not, he's got good passing, so he's a good passer. Like, just group it so his passing has got passing, vision, and whatever it is, rather than just those attributes. Just looking at little sort of attributes and just roles. Make it make sense. Actually link them together, and make it easier for people to understand what some of these attributes are actually doing. Because what's composure like? Is that in my final third, their final third? When does the composure attribute actually come into play in the match engine? We don't actually know that.
It's fair. I tend to just presume penalty shootouts. That's when I go for it.
So yeah, I think just personally just group them better. Probably remove some as well, but yeah, group them. Like leadership
he's already buckling. He's already buckling. Keep them, but get rid of some of them.
No, but leadership doesn't need to be there though, does it? Like that's one of those things I think I agree with Kev. Like you're either a leader or you're not. Like you can't have 16 leadership. He's a better leader, just a little bit. I think that's silly. Just remove that. That's probably
wobbling.
I
think he's wobbling.
He's getting there.
He's wobbling.
But what about dribbling? What about composure?
No, those things make sense to have a number, but leadership is just you're a leader or you're not, sort of thing.
Kev, is it that simple? You're a leader or you're not?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, or you can do, like you get when you've got to pick your captain every year, you get them listed according to who's the most appropriate captain anyway. You absolutely don't need it as an attribute. If you're not looking at that list and picking the guy top of that list, what on earth are you doing? The game is literally telling you who your captain should be. This is where you get people struggling with Football Manager, because they try and overcomplicate it and think the game's trying to trick them. It's really not. It is constantly telling you what the correct thing to do is. You just have to pay attention and do what the game is telling you to do.
And it tells you on the player's media description as well. He's a leader. You go, oh, brilliant! I'll do that then. He's a model citizen.
Yeah,
it tells you everything. It literally tells you that it literally just. It's pointing you. It's literally got it selected already as well. It's like it's pre-selected as well, and then it tells you your assistant manager thinks this person should be captain. So everything tells you that guy should be captain. Make him captain. Some people do change it, and when I see people change it, I'm like, why? Why?
Because they think they're cleverer than the game, and they're not, and that's why they lose.
Like I've seen someone change their captain so they get that message of the player unhappy. Oh my god. Yeah, remove leadership.
Right, okay, so we've removed...
There you go, we've got one. Let's keep... How long have we got? Let's go through the rest of them. We're going to get him to cave on all of them.
Right, give me stamina or fitness. Which one can you get rid out of them two? Because, you know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, no.
Here we go. We've got him.
They mean different things. They mean different things.
I know they mean different things,
mean different things, yeah.
Do we need them both?
No.
Just chipping away.
You need stamina.
You do, but
Natural fitness is a weird one though, because it's just like, how on earth would a scout know that information anyway? Natural fitness is like career longevity. It's like,
I was going to say,
basically at that point you're reading the tea leaves.
That one should be affected like how your game's going or whatever. Yeah, that should be more of your a medical thing. Yeah,
but does that not need to be like renamed as like engine or like capacity or something?
Engine. Yeah, fair enough.
What is your capacity? Can you work for 90 minutes 3 times a week?
Yeah.
Or because your fitness should be your fitness. It shouldn't be an attribute of how fit you are, because you're a professional footballer. at the elite levels, obviously, in the non-leagues, Kev, fitness doesn't need to just say pure gym member.
Long throw.
That's where you have the fat lads. That's where we bring back the thin to fat scale.
There's a new save for you. Fat to thin.
I mean, I've got to do it in the next 3 weeks, haven't I?
Oh my god. I think long throws would be another one. I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Gone off the attributes, gone to long throws. Right, get rid of them. Okay.
Penalty taking, who cares? Like, it's finishing and composure, isn't it? Like, let's be honest.
Yeah, unless they're
There
going
you
to
go. We
start
can get this
introducing
down to
penalty
like 5
styles or
attributes here:
Mhm.
attacking,
Yeah.
defending, goalkeeping.
Yeah, but
And
that's
then
true though. Like,
Right-footed
group it.
only.
Yeah, pace and height. There you go. That's all I need. Those
wait.
5.
I mean, that sort of does make sense as well.
Do we need where they're born? Really? No. Let's get rid of that as well.
Who cares?
Who's their agent? Does it matter?
Don't do. Oh, the Regionaire saves. Oh, do that.
Is that your argument there? Oof.
As soon as you said that, I was speaking of Matt FM's Regionaire save. Yeah, don't do that. Don't remove that.
Right, okay, I'll try and not take anything else out. I'll try not to take anything else. But there is a lot you could really remove, couldn't you? And that would just not really change too much of the game.
Yeah, back to the point. They shouldn't have just mentioned it. Just remove it. Don't mention the weight. Just remove it.
Finances, Kev, would you get rid of that as well?
I
not your
mean,
job,
I'm
is it?
not the finance director, am I? I'm the first team manager. I mean, in real life, is the head coach of a football club looking at balance sheets? No, of course they're not. They're given budgets and they work to the budgets. All I need to know is what my budget is, and then I need to be held accountable for meeting that budget. Unless I've got a director of football, in which case it's his problem, and I really don't even need to know.
Fair.
I'm looking through the finances now. I don't need to know what the corporate facilities income of my football club is. That is just none of my business.
I looked at my financial fair play projection
Can
the other
you
day
not?
and went, oh. And that's about as far as I got with that. Great, I can lose all this money and I'm not going to. So
I mean, I'm not even
great.
sure you are allowed to know. Like, I can't imagine Wenger just being able to pop in the financing room and then just asking about solidarity payments and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
exactly, and it's
I don't
all
think
in
you
here.
actually are allowed to know.
I can tell you how much my directors have been paid. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't know that. My directors at Wembley this month have had £503 of a director emoluments and £295 of dividend. There you go. Good. Well done, directors. You're earning more than I am in this save.
Right, that's gone then. Get rid of that, Matt. Okay, anything you want to get rid of? More things. Come on. We can whittle this down.
Well,
easily.
I mean, just as you say, like they don't have access to loads of different finances and things. Why do you even see your own finances? Like, it's just not worth it. Why are you in charge of scouting budget?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like,
You just go,
managers,
that's the budget.
The
That's
scouts are coming to
deal.
you. You don't control the scouts. They come to you and be like, "Hey, this is what we've got for you, chief," and then you pick from it, right? You're not sat there going, "Right, you do this." It's like, hang on a minute, what's your chief scout supposed to be doing? Then if you're the one telling them what to do,
Do you reckon there's any manager in the world then that's just went, oh, if I save some of that scouting budget, ooh, do you reckon that they'll let me spend that on players? And then the director's
maybe.
going, no,
obviously
that's not how
not.
it works.
It's going to go into my emoluments.
Sliding scales as well. The sliding scales, I think they should take that off. I'm going to be contentious.
It is
Aaron.
weird that you can't
Yes.
use numbers there and you have to slide it because it's like, what if I just want a tiny bit? It's like, no, you must have £275,342. It's like, yeah, but I only need like 10k, lads. It's really odd and like kind of janky.
Yeah, yeah. Again, that just feels like it's just an old thing. They just haven't taken it out or whatever it is. Yeah. Or because many people use it, they feel like if they do take it out, they get this reaction in the back.
I mean, some of this stuff, they've got to strike the balance between it being a simulation and a game, haven't they? Some of this stuff is things that just make the game more fun.
Yeah.
Being able to stick all of your transfer budget into wage budget and sign a load of free transfers is just fun.
Yeah.
So I get why it's in there, but if they want to go full on realism simulation mode, there's so much of this you'd bin off. And then people would go nuts about it. All these people who are like, I really want to manage the youth team. Well, you realise you're not responsible for signing or selling any players. You're also not choosing your own tactics.
Yeah.
And if there's a player the club are really looking to develop, you're going to have to give them the amount of minutes you're told to as well. You're basically just driving the bus.
And making substitutions in games.
Yeah,
Those are your choices.
exactly.
Yeah. And if there is a player that looks half decent, he's taken off. You put in the first team, or he's sent out to loan, so you're not going to see him anyway. Yeah, I think
I really want to manage the youth team. No, you don't.
I'd like to do my coaching badges and actually undertake the exams properly, please. No, you wouldn't.
I want to be able to spend my wages on a car. Oh, shut up.
Yeah.
They've only just licensed the Premier League. They're not going to get all the different models of Ford. Goodness me.
Imagine that, though, if they only get one brand of car. Hyundai,
perhaps.
I put this out the other day and I was like, it doesn't matter what comes out. Like if SI said, all right, everybody gets a copy of the game, gets a Mercedes, you'd have some people go, but why is it not a Ferrari? Like, they just get angry.
Oh, man.
Yeah, people get it. Should we take out some of the tie colours? We could do that, couldn't we? We don't need all the tie colours. Actually, no, that's one thing I think we do need to keep a hold of. But ultimately, though, if we were to make it more realistic, right, this is going to be my sort of final thought on this whole, like, what else should we take out of the game? If they made it more realistic, would people just get angry, Kev?
Yeah.
Because real football's a bit
people
rubbish.
are wallies. That's what I mean. They have this. That's the annoying kind of flip side of us all moaning that the game is too easy as well. 90% of people who play Football Manager probably get sacked in their first season and don't pick it up again. Because for most people who haven't, I mean, I dare not think how much of my life I've spent playing Football Manager. I did the numbers once. Based on since I've had Steam, I've spent 10% of my life since I've had Steam playing the game. So if we roll that back over the last 30 years, so I've spent 3 years of my life playing Football Manager. Obviously, I'm going to find it quite easy because I've spent 3 years doing it without any kind of break. But most people aren't. So they have to sometimes remember that it is a computer game. And that's why you have the bits in there like the quick pick, like the preset tactics. The things that really upset the nerdy little purists are the things that actually make it accessible to new players. What my most popular video I make every year is my beginner's guide to Football Manager, and I don't talk about tactics in that. I don't talk about training that or anything. I'm literally going through how you set up the game because it's so complicated for new people, and it gets 250,000 views a year. So there's at least 250,000 people out there who don't even know how to pick what league they're going to manage in, and there's people moaning the game's too easy. You just can't please everybody. And I think SI generally get it about right.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of what we were saying was almost in jest because, like, I think the first and foremost the game should be fun. Like, whenever anyone says to me, "Is this the right way to do it?" I'm like, if you're having fun, you're playing the game correctly, right? That's what you want out of it. The experience should be entertainment, right? Like, do I want it to be a bit more difficult? Yes, but that's purely for selfish reasons. It's as you say, I have probably 10,000 hours on these games, probably more than that actually. I don't know, I haven't done the math, but I'm almost scared to now. And you're absolutely right. Like, we are not representative of the entire audience of FM, and I think they have to do a very good job balancing what we want versus what the overall player base want. And yeah, just make it fun at the end of the day. If it's fun, then it should appeal to both sides of things, hopefully. And then we can just make it more difficult for ourselves by changing it with self-imposed restrictions rather than expecting the game to do that for us.
Exactly.
Aaron, are we 3 for 3?
Yeah, I agree. My only thing, like I think I touched on it earlier, would just be improving the AI in that sort of thing. Other than that, yeah, just make the game how you want it. People say it's always those people that say it's too easy now. Using the 4-2-3-1, they've got everything ramped up, advanced forward, to double it inside forwards. You know what's going to happen. You still use it, and then you still complain that it's overpowered. So.
Because that's the socially acceptable way to be able to brag to everyone that you're winning all the time.
Because then literally, and then this is the thing, right? And then when you go on the forums, and you're like, and they're complaining about, the 4-2-3-1 mid block is not strong. It's not strong. And it's like, well, what do you want? Now you want to go 50 games unbeaten using this 4-4-2 mid block, Mike Bassett way and stuff like that. If you want, you can try and attempt to do that, and then you'll quickly learn that the game becomes a bit more difficult for you, and it's not just win. But people just, I don't know what they want. I don't know what they want.
They want to win all the time, but feel like they're only doing that because they're so clever.
Yes.
And that's ultimately what Football Manager needs to convince people is happening.
Yeah.
Yes.
They want to convince everyone that only they know of all of the wonder kids that everyone knows about in world football.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I think that's a fair comment, to be honest. And I think, it is a tricky balance. You know, as I say, we've got trying to keep ourselves happy, trying to keep brand new players happy. I wouldn't want to be trying to do it personally, but then again, you know, I didn't make the decision to get rid of players' weights, so you know, it's not on me. One thing that has been fun, though, we mentioned it at the start of the show, was the FIFA eWorld Cup. Obviously, we had a chat with Aaron and Matt about that last week with their views on how it was as a player. Kev, we mentioned you were part of the casting team. How was that? How was it? What was the overall experience like for you? Because we've got the players' side of it, but what was it like in terms of the being in the booth?
It was bonkers. It was probably the most fun week of my professional life. It's probably the best thing I've ever done work-wise. But it was mad. It was absolutely mad. The production team who worked on it, lots of them work for like Sky Sports, BT Sport, and the amount of them who were like, you could work in broadcasting for the next 20 years, you could do Match of the Day and The One Show and Sky Sports. You'd never be in a studio this good. Again, that's the level we were at for that. It was like real state-of-the-art, top-of-the-range studio setup. And just to be a part of that was mad. And just to really get an idea of how TV works. Because although it was all just streamed on the internet, it was a TV production company and it was treated like live TV. So we had insanely early call times. We were in there at 7:30 every morning having our makeup put on. And then we had some crazy long days. I mean, if you think about that, the first day, the draw where everyone got their clubs was at 9 a.m, I think. And then the last press conference of the day finished at like 10 p.m. So we're there, but we did 5 live broadcasts that day. We did the draw and then the 4 different press conferences. Each one of those has a production meeting. You need to go to that production meeting knowing what's gone on. So that was one of the most challenging things each day. We'd be like setting up for the press conferences that would go on air at 8:30. Some of the groups hadn't even finished playing when the press conferences begun. But immediately before the press conference, like our production meeting for that would be at 5 p.m. So we're in meetings from 5 p.m. We have to eat our dinner in there somewhere as well. We're live at 8:30. When we're live at 8:30, we need to know what's gone on. So we're like, there's a queue of us going to talk to Zealand and ask him what's been happening while we've been busy, so he can bring us up to speed. And obviously during the day, we're having to keep up with what's going on as well, because we need to be there. We need to go into that production meeting sharing what the stories of the day are. So, did you see this thing that happened with Lithuania? And it's like, oh no, I didn't. Well, here's what happened. Let's pull up the streams. So we know what's gone on in all 20 groups, and trying to keep abreast of 60 seasons of Football Manager whilst doing 14-hour days. It was mad, but it was so much fun. I'm ready to do it again, please and thank you. I'm all in on that now. I'm retired from competitive FM. I'm done. I'm a broadcaster now. I had so much fun with it. It was great.
Yeah, no, it looked fun. Like I said, I was only there for the Sunday, which I was saying to the lads last week. I was only there for the Sunday, and I'm missing out on all of that and watching it and just like seeing that, as you say, the production values of what they put into it. Like, it was
getting used to having an earpiece in.
Yeah.
That takes some getting used to. Goodness me.
Yeah. Have you kept up the makeup routine though? That's the big question.
I mean, I've always been a makeup guy, so on my desk, I've always had. I can't reach it. It's tucked under a drawer. I have my powder, which I've always used because I'm a sweaty herbert, and I have very bright studio lights in here anyway. So I've needed the makeup for many years, but they took it to another level. They were colour matching me. They were using setting sprays, lip glosses. They were doing my hair for me. I've bought some of this hair powder that the young people use, because apparently that's the cool stuff now. I was still a gel guy. I'm 42 years old. I don't understand hair powder, but I've bought some now. I'll give that a go. So yeah, it's I need to learn what my actual colours are for my makeup so I can do my makeup better each day. Because goodness me, did I look good in some of those photos? Oh, new profile pictures. Oh, what a pretty boy!
Oh, you all got new profile pictures, didn't you?
Yeah, absolutely, we did.
Oh,
I mean, we had proper photo shoots and everything.
The photo shoot was just
that photographer. What a talented man, because he managed to make Dr. Ben look good, which is, come on now. That was the maddest thing about the week. Obviously, me and Ben for years have had our little antagonistic relationship with each other, but we were together all day, every day for 6 days. By the end of that, he was giving me a cuddle. We've texted every day since. Me and Ben, I don't think we can bring the Streamer Showdown on the network game back, so I think we'd be nice to each other. It's ruined the dynamic. It was a one-time only thing. We won't be able to be mean to each other anymore. We're actually nice to each other now, so I need a new enemy. So if anyone here wants to step up so that I can just spend the next several years getting little digs in at you whenever possible, I'm taking applicants.
That's fine. Well, we got those at the start of the show, so I'll do it. Fine. I'll be punching back.
oh my god.
But no, I mean, I must say, like, as I say, watching it looked fantastic, and like, Aaron and Matt saying the same. Like looking at it again, a week removed. Aaron, Matt, is there any way you would want to be on Kev's side? And Kev, you don't want to be where the players are.
Balls to that. I'm all in on broadcasting now. It's too much fun.
No way I'd want to swap. It's too. What they're doing is too much hard work. Frankly,
I did remember I told you.
Oh yeah, it's the closest I felt to having a job since I had a job.
Yeah. It's crazy because I remember the first time, the very first press conference, I just remember looking at Matt and just say, yeah, Kev is made. Like, you can see, like, when you, because we don't know how, it's just as press conferences, I told you already, I thought press conference literally meant in the game. I thought we had to do press conferences in the game, so I was like, yeah, we got to get these matches of speed on. But then when I saw the TV just slightly to my right and I saw the actual press conference, I was like, wow. But then when you're actually seeing the camera move and then it pans to that Kev, I remember seeing Kev straight away, I was like, yeah, he's made for this. He's definitely made for this.
The amount of people I heard say that to us
just
was
watch
like,
seeing on TV, just like this guy, just. It's hard to
I
explain.
mean, it's a lot of it's transferable skill stuff, isn't it? I mean, I've talked into a camera. I've made 5,000 YouTube videos in the last 10 years. It's not like I was in front of a camera and holding a microphone for the first time ever. So there is a lot of I guess transferable skills, experience stuff that's gone into it. But I really enjoyed it. I was so nervous that first day. By the end of it, easy peasy. But that first day, that first press conference, oh goodness me! If I'd have had those heart rate monitors on that you had for the final, there'd have been some thumping heart rates going on.
But it's not just talking into the camera for 10 years though, Kev. What you've got, because me looking at it from my perspective, obviously you've got your teaching background as well, so you're used to also presenting in that sort of environment. Which
I've said for years I couldn't do what I do without my teaching background. Before I was a teacher, the last job I had before I was a teacher, I worked in a call centre selling car insurance, and I used to get mocked. I actually got fired from that job because I was really bad at stringing a sentence together without ums and ahs, and just couldn't cold call, couldn't ring people up and just talk. And that was like 15 years ago, and now all I do is talk, and I'm pretty good at being relatively fluent with it, and that's all down to the teacher training. That was becoming a teacher, training to be a teacher, going through all those years of being a teacher, because you can't get away with it. The kids are just beyond you. So it's all these different skills that have been layered on. Like, I've done assemblies before. I can stand up in front of a few clowns pretending to be football managers. You're not as scary as 15-year-olds in school uniform.
And that's it, isn't it? Like, once you're used to being in front of live audiences, it makes it easy, because you can be as good as you want on the microphone in your own computer screen in your bedroom, in your office. You can be as good as you want at that. But if you've got to do it out in front of real people, I mean, we said to Aaron and Matt last week, you can play Football Manager, but can you play Football Manager in front of a live audience who are going to put some pressure on you? That's a different skill set.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, constantly having people like me wandering in there, questioning what you're doing, and trying to put you off.
I loved it. That was like, it just literally felt, I don't know if playground's the right word, but it just felt like I don't know. The moment I was in, I was like, yeah, this is me. This is definitely me. It's a bit like Kev, like when he was on the thing, it just looked like it was made for him. For me, it just felt like that competition in particular, it just felt that was made for me.
I mean, I think everybody there was in exactly their right role. I mean,
when
they announced the broadcast team, everyone was like, oh, where's Zealand? Where's Zealand? Zealand was doing exactly what Zealand should have been doing because nobody else could do what Zealand did.
He said the same thing. Literally, last episode, the exact same thing as well. Yeah, like people, I felt that everyone there was just literally in their perfect roles.
And it just shows the production company knew what they were doing and they did their research and actually got the right people in the right roles. And yeah, they it was just so well put together. I just hope we get to do it again and again and again.
It's just everything, like the little things, like even at the production, right? So people don't know, like so in the final, like we're just trying to get into a final, we're trying to get into the game, and we're just stood behind this massive screen thing with a flag, like we're standing there for 40 minutes with a flag in our hand, not being able to hear what people on stage are saying about us, and we're just
I've learned so much of live TV is waiting around.
Like you're supposed to be with your enemy, you're literally about to go to war with this guy, but you're literally standing and you have to make a conversation because you just stood there for 40 minutes. I think I was started going on his phone. I don't know if he's just playing a game. I know Matt was playing Candy Crush.
I was playing Candy Crush under the desk on stage.
But this is all like while we're waiting to go on the thing, so that's what I learned. But again, like if you've got that patience, if you feel like that's what you're there for, if you're made for it, then you get by that. It becomes a no problem. But again, you're just imagining someone that isn't, I'm not used to it, but someone that just isn't sort of built for that, made for that. They just got through for it because of a qualifier sort of thing. Those bits can be really daunting, and it can affect your performances as well. You might not even be able to play at your best on that stage because of all of what's going on around it. Like you're literally, the build up is like 6-7 hours for a 10-minute game. So
the interesting bit that I picked up there was again what they said last week. I'm surprised they couldn't hear you when they're playing the games, because I just assumed they'd be able to overhear. I didn't know if they had like noise cancelling headphones on or whatever, but when they were saying, oh yeah, we couldn't hear anyone, I was like, well, that's really bizarre. I would have presumed that you would have heard something. That
was very deliberate. And
no, of
it
course,
was something that a lot of thought went into to like angle, because they'd managed to get it so the audience could all hear, but the players couldn't, and that was there was so much discussion earlier on in the week about how to set it up to make that happen, because the event had the two arms of it. It had the competition team and the production team, and the competition team were like, they can't know what the other people are doing, and the production team are like, if we don't show the tactics and talk about them, there's literally nothing to broadcast, because that's all the game is. And somehow they managed to find a way to get the best of both worlds, and it was very, very, very well put together. I was so skeptical going in. When I got the original call, I remember having a Discord chat with Ben and Jack, and all three of us were like, I mean, we'll go because we kind of have to go, but I think it's probably going to be a disaster. I just don't see, even the format, it's like, I don't see how this format's going to work. Play a season in 9 hours? Nah. And we were like, we'll go because we have to be there, but I don't expect there'll be another one. We'll just enjoy it this time, and if it all goes wrong, try and distance ourselves from it. And then we got there, and it was brilliant. And yeah, I'm so impressed with how well put together it was.
If they are going to do it again, what was there anything that you've taken away from it? You think, that they could sort of like dial that up a little bit, or anything that you would sort of like, maybe missed a little trick here, or? I
mean, there's obviously plenty of tweaks, and I've already given quite a lot of feedback. There's stuff like the league stages. They need to find a way to make them a little bit harder. There needs to be more separation. What we found in certainly 3 of the 4 groups is that everyone was just winning every game, and the league tables were being settled by whether you won the Charity Shield in season 1 and silly stuff like that. There needs to be, they need to find a way to set up the saves so that it's not just everybody winning everything all the time. It might have been nice to have a little bit more of the PvP stuff. I think that was probably, from a viewer perspective, it was the most interesting part to watch, and there actually wasn't a lot of it. So maybe you could have quarterfinal, semi-final, final. You could perhaps do that over 2 days. I think in an ideal world, and this is incredibly difficult to do without a much bigger budget, in addition to the press conferences, you also have a match of the day style highlight show at the end of every day. But doing that, obviously, you've got 20 people playing for 11 hours, that's an awful lot of footage to edit together into an hour-long show.
Yeah,
2 hours
live
after play
trucks,
closes for the day. So I don't quite know how you'd get to that point. But yeah, there's lots of ideal world stuff that you could do. But I mean, at the end of the day, if they just did that exactly as it was again this time next year, I think it would still be a great show. And I think I've watched a lot of the coverage back now because I love the sound of my own voice. And I think it was all really, really good. Really good. Very impressed with it all. I need to put together a show reel, pick out the bits where I looked all fancy so I can get that one show job. That's the next step. Replace Jermaine Janus on the one show.
There's a spot going. Yeah. Matt, same question. Anything you've managed to pick up on over the last week? Or
I think it was basically just echoing everything Kev said, but from the player perspective, I would like to see the group stages have more variation and differentiation in terms of the teams, because as you say, a lot of people were just being screwed from something that happened in the first season and then it was impossible to catch up. I think one of the ideas that's been posited around was the idea of having scenario challenges for each day instead. That way it's like a 1 day thing for each of the 3 days. That way you could do really well at one, but then the next day you could be equally as bad because it's like a clean slate a little bit. And then also I think that would perhaps save time in the 9 hours as well. If you're doing a scenario where it's like bottom at Christmas, that means there's less time for you to have to worry about just simming all the matches. You might actually be able to play it a bit more and perhaps maybe slightly get better content for the actual tournament on top of that as well. But the fact is, for a first attempt at this, it was way better than I expected it to be. I don't know what I was really expecting, but whatever it wasn't that, and I came away literally, I think everyone's basically said that it was like one of the best experiences they've had in their lives, certainly professional lives. But for me, just that and meeting everybody and talking to all these people from all around the world, there was just something so cool about all that I'll never forget. There's literally a managers and assistant managers WhatsApp group now that's just popping off. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like that. I like that a lot. That's what it's all about. Bringing people together, isn't it? Well, you know what? I think this has been fun. I think we've had a cracking conversation today. We're going to lock the cameras off and go and do some extra bits of chat for Patreon.
Sure.
Aaron, if you want to tell us where people can support us on Patreon.
They can support us on patreon.com/the FM Show Pod. That's patreon.com/FM Show Pod, where you can support the channel from as little as £3. But if you're a little bit skeptical, you are now.
It was £3 a month, but Aaron's gonna. Yeah.
But you can do a trial and you can come and see if you like the content over there, and then you can support us from as little as £3. Your choice.
Your choice, but don't be skeptical.
Yeah, don't be skeptical.
Don't be tight. Give them the money, for goodness sake. It's £3.
That's what I meant. That's
Exactly
exactly what
why
I
I've got
meant.
these two boys here.
Aaron's microphone's balanced on a pile of books. For goodness sake, give these people some money.
He's just represented England. Come on. It's not the vibe, is it?
Oh my god.
No, yeah. If you can, that'll be great. Come and check out the extra stuff, but also check out the works of Kev and Matt. Kev, do you want to promote yourself? Where can we find you?
Lollujo everywhere.
Matt.
SecondYellowCard everywhere except X, where it's SecondYellowCard.
Excellent. Lovely stuff. Cool. Right. Appreciate you all. It's been a fun conversation. Hope you enjoyed it. Let us know in the comments below what you've liked. And come and see us next week. Take care of yourselves, everyone. All the best. See you soon.
Bye
now.
bye.